WIOA, new opportunities, or should we say new challenges as well as new opportunities. We're going to talk about the new educational functioning level descriptors based on the college and career readiness standards. And as you know, we actually construct and develop the blueprint for all of our assessments, not only based on the college and career readiness standards for adults, but then in addition to that, looking at the EFLs, the level descriptors, which are derived from the college and career readiness standards. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. Those are new because they're based on the new standards. So when we talk about the new assessments that we've developed, they're based on the new college and career readiness standards and the new EFLs based on those. We've inherited now several new acronyms with WIOA. We now have IET, and we have IELCE, and we have PIRLS, P-I-R-L, and we have POP. Who knows what POP is? Oh, good. You get A's. So we also have common measures, skill gains for all partners, not just WIOA 2. And this has been a long time in coming, because in the early days of WIA, we talked about the skill level descriptors, and we talked about the measurable skill gains and the outcomes for Title II. But then with our partners, our workforce partners from Title I, they had a different definition for program year, and they had different outcomes, and it was really hard to coordinate. And so as they were writing the new law for WIOA, I think they took into account the lessons learned from WIA. And so it's now all titles 1, 2, 3, and 4, that all have the same common measures, same measurable skill gains, same outcomes in terms of the get a job, keep a job, go on to post-secondary, the same timing, the same reporting periods. So hopefully as we move forward, it's going to be easier to partner with our workforce partners and rehab and do a better job both at the state level and the local level of coordination. Other indicators of progress, we also now have credentials. In addition to the high school diploma, there are certificates, certification, credentials, and other outcomes. So hopefully this will make it easier going forward. I'd like to read something to you that I came across that I thought would be apropos to what some of our challenges are, and it has to do with technology. This is from a gentleman from the World Economic Forum, and he said, "We stand on the brink of a technological revolution that will fundamentally alter the way we live, work, and relate to one another. In its scale, scope, and complexity, the transformation will be unlike anything humankind has ever experienced before. It will touch all aspects of our life." So we're thinking about education, and we're thinking about, are we going to switch from pencil and paper to computers? This goes way beyond that in terms of technology. If you think about some of the changes just in your own lives, we have retail stores closing because more people are ordering online, and it's so convenient to order online. And so you've got Amazon, you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Uber, you've got Lyft, they're all technology related. This is the world that we're living in and that our students are living in, and it's going to get more and more technological. And so in the context of preparing our students, we need to not just think very narrowly about our education and what should we be, what should the curriculum be, What should that curriculum continuum look like? How do we articulate with our community college and our workforce partners? But there's a much broader conversation that also needs to be taking place. So, coming back to the education and career pathways, preparing our learners for career pathways. What are the strategies that we want to put in place so that we're all supported as we move forward into the brave new world of WIOA? Content standards, alignment with the college and career readiness standards and the educational functional levels, the EFLs. New assessments aligned with the CCRs and the level descriptors. Transitions, documenting the skill gains and the workforce skills. And when we talk about transitions, we're talking about not only transition to post-secondary education and post-secondary education and training, we're also talking about transition to the workforce. And there's some discussion still about this, but some of the skills that enable a person to easily transition into the workforce are not there when we're preparing students to transition to college and training. There's some skill sets to enter the workforce that I think, by and large, we're not ignoring, but not doing a good job of, and we're so focused on that linear path to education and training that we're not thinking that many of our students, they come to our programs because they desperately need a job. And they may, in the future, go on to post-secondary education and training, but what they really need almost immediately is a job. And so we need to think about both the academic education and training branch as well as the get a job. And as I said, the jobs are changing and retail jobs are going down. And Amazon is hiring, but they're not hiring as many people as are being laid off in the retail sector. Technology, interoperability with our WIOA partners. That's a biggie in terms of our ability to cooperate. In the past, all of the titles have had different operating systems. None of them really talk to each other. But with the technology now, it's really possible and very doable that each of your partners at a state level or local level can have somewhat different systems, but there's some standards for interoperability in terms of import, export, warehousing, federated. So there's a variety of ways now that both at a state level and a local level that you can share data. And it's just that's going to continue to increase. And professional development, expansion of online PD options, and we've already seen that all over the country. We've now got at the national level, we've got links at the state level. We've got PD in most states that use webinars, YouTube videos, and a variety of different options for PD that we haven't really used a lot in the past or had available that we now have available. So for example, if you are looking at a curriculum alignment between your agencies, it's possible to put on a webinar initially with a chat room and then continue the dialogue over the next semester and create a professional learning community for those that are interested and have participated in that webinar. So many, many more opportunities that we have for professional development than we've ever had in the past. What we have for assessment research and resources, we have a new reading and math series that I think Linda's going to talk to you about. We have field testing that I think Karen might be talking to you about. We're going to be talking about research studies that we need to do to validate the new series. I'd like to say a little bit about that. I think some of you think that we sit down and we write items and we put them on a test and we put them on the computer and we get some of you together to say, yeah, these look like they're all aligned, and then we roll it out. It's a several-year process. There's a variety of different studies that need to be done from the very beginning of item writing to item review to item field testing to test construction to testing the test, and then all the studies that need to be done to say, are these tests biased against any one particular group of people? If I administer this 81, how do I know that when I administer the 82, they're exactly parallel? That no matter what I give, which one I give first, the student would get approximately the same score. How do I know that if I move from an 81 to an 83, it's along a fixed metric continuum? How do I know that if a person gets a 210 and they move to a 211, they're now at an intermediate level, and that is standard across all states? So those are all studies that need to be done to show evidence that the test is valid, that the test is reliable, that the test is not biased against any one particular group of people, and that the score that you get is reliable, and that you can use that score and interpret that score to say the student is about this level, and here are the competencies and the skills that that student can and can't do at that level. So there's a lot that does go into the assessment. And we've engaged many of you in some of the studies, so you know, you have an idea of some of what we actually go through over a several-year period.